Hey, badasses, this is Donnie Bovine, the founding badass behind Success Champions, the podcast, the magazine, the Facebook group filled full of business owners that are doing amazing things growing and scaling their business. Here we are at the Hearst Convention Center in Fort Worth, Texas, getting geared up for the Badass Business Summit. We're bringing in 12 amazing speakers from around the U.S. to help you get your publicity and your business development right at this ultimate event called the Badass Business Summit. At this event, you're going to learn how to get on stages, how to get on podcasts, how to write your book. You're also going to learn about how to automate your sales process, how to network at a high-end level. You're going to learn how to get your social media dialed in so it's perfect for your business so you can grow and scale. We all set out to start our own businesses to find that freedom from doing the 9-to-5 job. Now it's time to scale that business up, get after it, and go big as hell. I promise you, at the Badass Business Summit, you're going to unleash that inner badass inside of you so you can go big and loud and change the world. Hey, what is going on, kids? It is Wednesday afternoon. We are hanging out, doing Meet the Experts, bringing in all the badass speakers, guests, sponsors, and all the cool people that are helping us make the Badass Business Summit just something awesome and amazing. I am totally stoked, guys. This is going to be a hell of a conversation. And for a lot of you that have been following me for a while, this is going to be your first time to meet Miss Nikole Dickman. She's got a badass story. It's been one hell of a journey with her company, Envoy Managed Services. You know, they are the title sponsor for the entire event. So I'm really, really excited to have her here. So Miss Nikole, welcome to the party, my dear. How the hell are you?
I am doing wonderful. How are you?
Life is good. Life is good. You have had a wild and crazy journey and a fun life. Give us like the 50,000 foot overview of you, your story, and who you are.
Yeah, well, and so it's really good to be here. Thank you for having me on. I think my story is kind of exciting and unique because it's the story of a lot of people around me too. And started out in the corporate world, doing great things in finance, utilizing the IT people to do all the big heavy lifting for all the projects we had. And in 2014, our company said, everyone's got to relocate to another state. And we sort of went from, wow, we're all going to be saying no, declining, we're going to lose the team, to maybe we need to try something really bold and figure out a way to start a company, hire the team, and become the outsourced partner for the company that we used to work for. So it started as sort of a let's have some wine, and it could be this, it could be that. You maybe have a little idea, but it doesn't seem like a solid one. By the end of the weekend, we had a business plan together. So 5 years later, this is actually our 6th year in business. We're doing what you say and trying to go big and go bold and find new ways to have fun together as a team.
Now, this is so awesome. So literally your team was in a spot where they were all going to be relocated, possibly without a job. And then somebody who had never really been a CEO of a business before, had never really run a company, says, hold my beer and watch this. With their team, creates a business, kind of saving everybody.
Right.
And bringing a whole team back together. Then going back and selling the company on the idea that you could come in as a consultant.
Right.
Where does that crazy ass idea and gumption come from? I mean, who does that?
Well, I think it's interesting. A lot of people dream and say little things about, what if I did this? Or it could be really fun to do that. And in the moment, I don't know that any of us were aware that that was actually going to become a reality. So it just started off with an idea, and then it kind of took hold and it built momentum. And it was half, oh my goodness, what in the heck are we doing, with half, we've been together a long time, we got this. Some crazy and some, standard, actually have a plan, combined together, ended up with this. It's a crazy ride. It's crazy. It's crazy.
We got a bunch of people watching. Jason Madden, good to see you. Jeremy Ryan Slate says DB is a legend. Thanks for that, brother. Kevin, Stacy, and everybody else, thanks for tuning in and saying hello. And we can't brag about Kevin enough and all the hard-ass work he's been doing on a regular basis behind the scenes for a lot of this. So, so on this journey, do you think you were this natural-born CEO, executive type material, or have you just kind of stumbled through it and go, hell with it, I got this?
Yes to all of those, depending on the moment. So it changes. It changes all the time. In fact, I think today I've swung back and forth on that pendulum several times. So it's kind of interesting. And you and I have talked about this in some of the mentoring that we've done, but I don't know that I was born into this. I didn't think that this was something that I was going to do. And in the end, it was a big shift to go from managing an organization to trying to figure out how to lead an organization. And there have been lots of great people around me. There's lots of support systems, but it's not easy. It's a challenge. And I think admitting that it's a challenge in the first place and asking for help is part of how we've gotten to this point in the journey. So no, definitely not thinking that this is where I was going to be. No, for sure.
There was no 3-year-old little girl going, I'm going to run a major corporation type of thing, when she was 3 years old. There was none of that.
I mean, I may be an only child and slightly bossy by nature, but I didn't.
You said it, and that is now live for the world to hear. Just so you know.
I admitted it. It's the first step to recovery. So I don't know that the people around me are necessarily surprised, but I think part of a lot of small business owners' journeys is they find themselves where they didn't think they were going to be, and then they find a way to make the best of it. And in doing so, the people around them aren't necessarily surprised that they could do it. Some of the skill sets are kind of developed over time. So I get a lot of, well, yeah, we saw that in you when you were 3 and deciding you were going to be in charge and rule the household. So a little bit of that maybe played forward a couple decades.
Oh, and Stacey McGovern's excited because she's an only child too, and has a very similar story. So, guys, you heard, if you want to be successful, be an only child. No, that is not a thing. That is not a thing at all, because I'm the youngest. So I mean, that's interesting. How much of this journey did you kind of think you had figured out as you were going through this, and how much of it was kind of, let's just try it, see what happens, learn from it, and push through?
Absolutely none of it was planned out in advance. There wasn't a plan per se. So I think there's something to be said for, and obviously finance is my background.
Kevin says I was an only child for the first 11 years of my life.
Oh, that's foundational, man. He was an only child for sure.
Too funny.
Oh my goodness. So I think there's something super important about having a strong idea of the finances and the business model that you're going to embark on, right? But at the same time, I think I put more stock in following your heart and your gut. And as long as I can have a model that's going to back up that we can be successful as a business, then why not kind of take the chance? Like, what's the worst thing that can happen? We talked about it on a Success Champions call earlier today. The worst thing you can do is fail. And as long as you make something out of that failure or you learn a lesson, I wasn't hurting anyone. We were going to be out of a job anyway. So what's the worst case scenario? We're still out of a job. Okay, well then let's try this.
And I love it. I think if more people would look at life that, could they survive whatever the worst case is, I think more people would dive in and give life a go and just see, what happens with it as a whole. So, for you, you've got this really, and because I know a lot of your background story, but you've got this huge knack that it's always about the team. That it's never you never necessarily want to be the person in the limelight, that you always want to lift them up. Why is that? Why is there so much compassion about making sure you're representing your team and not necessarily the person out front?
Ooh, that's a good one.
I'm coming, girl. Gloves off.
Love it. So, back in the day with finance, being the subject matter expert, doing what I needed to do, that was easy peasy. I was always a very team-centric person because everyone plays such an important role. You either succeed together or you fail together. So that's always sort of been my understanding and my belief, is that the team is super important. And that's where my energy needs to go. Fast forward to being a fish out of water, trying to learn how to run a technology company with people who are super smart that know way more about technology as me. And it was a complete moment of panic. Like, I feel insecure. I don't understand exactly what's going on. Now more than ever, I see all the power in the knowledge of the people that are around me, and being able to tap into that and knowing that not only did I need them and I believed in them, but that we were only going to survive together. That extra appreciation for what everybody brings to the table, especially when you're trying to start some crazy business, it solidifies that it's everyone's journey together. And I have a role in it, but without them, there's not a company.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And Stacy asked, do you have a sales team, or tell us about your sales team, Nikole?
So this is super fun. So I'm going to be super honest. We do not have a quote unquote sales team because when you're awesome, it's supposed to just sell yourself, right? Like it's easy. Everyone should just know. For a couple of years, we actually took some time to transition to, we used to be an internal organization. Now we have to actually service the client, and there's a customer service focus that changes. And then we're like, okay, we've got our processes. We're going to get our website up. It's going to be awesome. Everyone's just going to flock to the page. Business is going to be bananas. It's going to be awesome. And then we do all of that. And of course, that's not how the real world works. So then you have to figure out who's going to sell the company. And it turns out relationship building that myself and our team has done, and me interacting and working with others in different partnerships that we have was the way that ultimately grew the business. But I was shocked. I mean, I was literally waiting when the website went live, like, here we go. We have a call to action. It's going to happen. It's going to be awesome. And of course, it's hard work and lots of challenges along the way. So you're looking at probably the primary salesperson, which never what I thought I was going to be. Oh my goodness.
Well, I think it's interesting. I think, but a lot of people do that, right? We all start our businesses and we're like, okay, cool. We're going to set up the website. We're going to get the business cards done. And then, now that we got that, here comes, oh my God, we finally showed up. The world's going to say, let's do this. Millions of dollars are going to come through and it's going to take off. And I think we all kind of go through that stage in our businesses where we're like, oh crap, somebody's actually got to do the sales. Somebody's got to actually, I got to go talk to people. I mean, they just can't automatically see my brilliance and just have this amazing company and business. So, I mean, what for you, because I know what my experience was going, oh crap, I've got to do something I've done my entire life, but now for me versus somebody else. For you, what was that transition really like going from more kind of behind the scenes to now out front, I've got to do the sales side of it?
Terrifying. Because you remember, I'm a fish out of water in theory. Going out and talking about finance, easy. Going out and trying to sell an IT organization and an IT solution was terrifying. My first networking event, I literally sat there and just hoped that it was over. I don't want to talk to anyone.
I love that, honestly.
I don't want to talk to anyone. Just please let me say, okay, check it off the box. I've done it, right? A networking event is over. And figuring out how to have a one-on-one conversation and just talk to people that you actually want to work with has been sort of what settles me down in the moment. Like, we're not here to sell, right? We want to do business and help people. And we want to do business with people we enjoy working with. That's been my mantra. So just having a conversation sort of has helped me settle down and not think of it as some salesy thing.
No, I love that. So, I mean, you mean there's people that are actually out running very large companies, networking, and they're not a natural born salesperson? I'm aghast.
Right. And so, okay, I didn't really want salespeople, and I love all the salesmen out there, but I'd been sold so many times in the past a shiny, flashy product. And then when it came time to actually implement it, it didn't work. And so the way that I thought it was. So I was scared, if we get a sales team or a salesperson out there, are they going to sell what we're actually wanting to deliver and the core values? And so that's sort of what just made me decide to get involved and push outside of my comfort zone. And I was in a sales meeting a while back presenting, and one of the people in the room asked me, like, you're the CEO, basically, why are you here? And I had a moment and sort of clarity happened. I was like, you know what? I'm here to figure out if we're going to work well together, if there's a rapport, if we can actually like and enjoy what we're about to embark on together. That's why I'm here. They can talk about all the technical stuff. They got that covered. But we have to actually work together. So I think I got a little off topic there.
No, it's awesome. Keep going. It's a great chain.
Yeah. So no sales organization. And it was, at first it was, can you afford it? And will they do the selling that we need them to? Into maybe a sales person that's not really involved in the business may not be the right way to go when you're trying to do something relationship based.
What I want people to really focus in on here is you're not an IT expert. You're not a person that sits down and fiddles with computers and learns all the intricate ins and outs of it. And in some sense, there's a lot you don't know about the IT world. So you and I could hang out a lot in that regard, but you're still managing and running a really large, IT company. How is it that somebody that doesn't know a lot about that world can actually run a company like that? I know it's a good question.
Oh, so wow. So you are totally not on the list of questions I thought we were going to be covering. And I think this speaks to everyone out there who's doubting why they are where they are, or maybe wondering what they're doing at this moment or why they are in this position. I feel like people don't know their own strengths, myself included. And again, I felt like, how can I possibly go out there and talk to people? I'm the wrong person. I can't answer the specific technology questions. And what I've found is because I understand it on a basic level enough to communicate the message, there's a lot of people sitting on the other side of the table that also really need what we have, but don't want to talk in acronyms and all these high technology terms. And so what I thought was some sort of an insecurity or something that was going to hurt the sales process, I think helps it, because then it's going back to you're just having a conversation. And there's not every situation where that works. And we have technical people that are there to talk about all the details, but it's a relationship and it's still trying to fill the needs of the clients. And maybe, just maybe, me not having all the technical terms helps that in many cases.
No, I love it. Even Stacy says the same way. I'm not a cop, but employ 200 police officers.
Yeah.
And Janelle's in with you. She even said amen at one point. So I mean, interesting for me is too often people get lost in their business, right? They're so into, I've got to be the knowledge expert. I've got to be know every ins and out, every workings along the way. And you took what some could consider a weakness because you don't know all the technology and turn it into an absolute strength inside your business, which is a beautiful thing that not a lot of people could take to task. And for me, I'm curious if that's been something that's been ingrained in you your entire journey, or is that a skill set that you've learned to put that kind of gumption forward? It's never going to be easy because, look, here's the way I look at it, right? And I want everybody to know where I'm coming from, and asking questions is, if we're going to change the world, if we're going to impact lives so they can find the strength inside them to go bigger, go louder, and change the world, then it's amazing to understand where this kind of stuff comes from. Because I want people to see how much you have been so focused on self-learning by doing it, going through it, and figuring it out on the fly. I think it's cool for them to hear it.
Okay, so a couple of things to say to that. Oh man, that's a lot. I would like to believe that none of us really know our true potential. And I know that sounds frou-frou, feelies, whatever. But if we actually knew our potential, we'd already be doing it, right? So we're faced with challenges and life throws things at us. I think the current situation is a great example of that. And we can either kind of take it lying down and just go with the flow, or we can have a little bit of a chance to make a change. And if I look back, the different successes we've had at Envoy, or that I've had as a leader, have been the result of some sort of crisis. The first one was we're all either going to have to locate or we lose our jobs. We had another one in a couple years ago when a major client decided that they couldn't afford to outsource that piece of their IT team anymore. And at that point, I was faced with, what do we do? The easy option is to get rid of the people that we have that are, part of that client, mostly full-time. And so in that moment, it's the culmination of all the experiences I guess I'd had in my life, along with being completely against a wall. Do I really want to let part of the team that we started the company to keep together go just because that's the easy answer? No. So to answer your question, I think some of it comes from whatever you've already got, whatever your potential is, and then you've just got to exercise it, right? You got to have that moment where your back's against the wall and you get a chance to make a difference. So my response to that, other than sleepless nights and insomnia and lots of tears and what do I do and what's the right answer, was to do what we talked about earlier, which is put pen to paper, figure out what kind of financial model we need to keep the people that we wanted to keep, and actually put that into place to say, okay, this is the kind of runway that I can give us. These are the amount of months that I can keep the team together. But to do that, we started as a team. We're going to go down in blazing glory, right? It's going to be together. You guys have to come to the table and help us figure out how to grow this and find work that will help sustain your expense, basically. And so we formed internally what we lovingly called the Growth Task Force. And like the focus of those people during our runway was to figure out a way to go big or go home, like literally go big or go home. So
Now, this is,
I don't know. I got to get off
no,
track.
I love it. No, you're good. You're good. You're right where you need to be. So a couple of things here. One is on LinkedIn, they say badassery isn't a quality that's easy to come by. It's earned by perseverance and struggle. It's granted only in the pursuit of a vision that's bigger than the person who imagines it. Go Nikole. And then Stacy says the easy way is never the best way. And Janelle just popped in and says, love this. Thanks, Nikole and Donnie. So what I want you to understand is I love your humbleness. I love your ability to protect the team. And it just shows in everything that you freaking do. I mean, you just literally said, guys, we started this together. We're going to finish this together. We're going to push through this. And to do that, then we are already a team, but we're going to have to become an elite team. We're going to have to really step up our game to go forward. It takes a hell of a leader to say, let's do this. How can somebody, if they're in their business, rally their team like you've done and get that support? What are some of the things they need to be doing in their own company to leverage and get the team and that support and get them to up their game and jump on board and help them do what you did?
Okay, so hindsight's always 20/20, right? So that's the fun part. So having a foundational relationship with your team members and those around you is the first, right? Investing in them, understanding what drives them, what motivates them, having them be a part of the process. I think we talked earlier today also about give everyone a voice, not necessarily a vote. Help everyone feel like they're really invested in the company and that you're invested in them. So it starts with a foundation. So if I had come to them with this crazy idea, but I hadn't had a relationship with them, and then it would have probably been harder for anyone to stay on board and not go look for a job and jump ship, right? Because that's the normal thing to do. And we had this mentality where everyone was in it together. And so that's number one. It's if you, as a business leader, you want to kind of cover yourself and be like, oh, there's so much going on. I just need to handle all the day-to-day, but take the time to really get to know the people that are around you and that are making a difference in your company is number one. Number two is probably, so I wear my heart on my sleeve. I have zero ability to like mask my feelings. Sometimes that can also be a detriment. But number two is I would say don't be afraid to be vulnerable, to be able to go to your team and say, this is what I'm facing or what we're facing. I don't know what the answer is, but I know that together we can figure out what we're going to do next and execute together. And being able to admit you don't know everything and that maybe you are struggling and being honest. You've got a team around you for a reason. Use them. They're going to have ideas and see your business from a different perspective. So there's absolutely no shame in going and saying, I don't know what to do, or this is the challenge.
But Nikole, most CEOs see themselves as they have to know all the answers. They can't be vulnerable for their team, right? There's several CEOs out there that are like, look, dude, I'm not getting that vulnerable with my team. Why do they got to get that way? Why do they got to bring their team along for the ride?
Okay, well, no one knows everything as much as I would like to have thought before. I unfortunately do not have all the answers. Wow. So anyone should surround themselves with people that are smarter than them and that have their own talent set. And to not tap into that and use that would be a shame. Everyone around us is what makes your company successful. We all play a part, and everyone has a perspective. It goes back to the giving everyone a voice, but not a vote. Engaging people is a strength. It's not a weakness. Being able to see other people's value and acknowledge what they bring to the table, that helps them want to bring more to the table, and they feel appreciated. It's a win-win. No one person knows everything. It's not possible.
Yeah, so James over there's in Facebook says, love this answer. The foundation of the relationship builds the culture. The culture is vital to change. Then Dodson puts in there, it's not vulnerability, it's authenticity, which I
Ooh, I like that.
How important is it for a CEO of a company or somebody who's running their own business to be authentic with their team, with the world, with what they're doing? How much does it really play into it?
Well, you have to deliver, right? So the execution is part of it.
Say that again. I just love that. I asked about authenticity. You popped in, well, you got to deliver. That's brilliant. Keep going.
No, you just interrupted me. I don't remember what I was saying. I just want to make one comment. It's sort of this question, but sort of the previous one. There is a balance between being authentic, which is going to be my new word. Whoever said that, that's freaking fabulous. Being authentic and being too open. And I will say I've made mistakes in that where, okay, I've already shared with you kind of what's going on. Let me just probably go too far. And then there's times when, okay, last time I shared too much and maybe some people had some issues with what we were facing. Now I'm going to rein it in. So there's a balance, and it's not perfect, but you kind of have to feel your way. And that leads to this question, which is you have to be authentic, but that also comes from knowing that you can deliver and what you said, and you're going to keep your promises, and that you are trustworthy. Like all those things build into it. So if that's really who you are, then that should come through authentically. You shouldn't, in my opinion, I don't think you can fake that. It's the absolute opposite of authenticity.
No, I 100% agree with that. I think, for myself early on in my career, running a company and everything else, that authentic side was really, really tough for me to pull off, because that authenticity can be seen as a weakness, right? In my own head, so the ability to stand in front of your team and say, hey, this isn't no bullshit, no anything. This is what's really going on. This is the world we're in. Here's where we go. I just love where you come from, because it forces you to literally rally the troops and say, let's go forward. Let's run together. And I think you get more buy-in at that point. I think you get more of them wanting to say, hell yeah, give me a torch. Let's go after this. Did you expect that to happen when you approach the team in that regard? Or was there, in the back of your head, that little voice going, oh shit, are they going to buy into this?
Okay, so I'm a super, I overcomplicate a lot of things. I will think about every possible scenario, and what I've had to come back to over and over again is if they want to be here and we're meant to be a team, then we will. And I can do so much. And then if it's better for an individual, for example, to go and find a different opportunity, because this is a bit of a wild ride, they have to find something more stable or whatever it is that meets their certain expectations, then I need to honor them by being okay that they want to do that. So there were no real expectations. It was, here's our choice and let's see what we can do with it. I mean, there's a lot of rah-rahing and cheerleading and woohooing and all that, try to get everybody excited. But there's still an absolute acceptance of, if they're in it, they're in it, and it's okay. If this is a little much, it's okay.
Well, and Stacy said that it shows who's all in. It really comes down to when you lay it out there and you say, hey, this is where we're at, it really paints the picture that if we're going to do this, we're going to do it together. Let's run. Let's get after it.
I agree.
And let's go. So, well done. Well done. As you've gone along.
Oh my goodness.
dude, we're going all in.
Oh, goodness.
So as you've gone through this, you've learned a lot of leadership principles. You've learned a lot about yourself. You've really become to step into who you are as a leader. And I think that was the most interesting thing as I ran my business. Is I love telling everybody, I think I finally met me along the journey of building this whole thing out. Have you kind of had that same experience where you've really gone, oh shit, where's this person been in my entire life? Welcome to the party. Have you kind of gone through that same thing?
Yes, to different degrees. It's a little different every day, but I think that's true. 5 years ago, if you had said this was going to be my role, getting out there, I may be outgoing, but I'm actually incredibly shy. You know that I have this nervous thing, like I just don't want to be the center of attention, which some people don't believe, but it really is true. And so sort of finding myself in the process has been fun, not easy. It kind of 5 years ago, again, didn't ever think this is what I would be doing, but now it feels like this is exactly where I was supposed to be. But I love feeling uncomfortable, and not because that part's fun, but same thing where I don't love the fact that we go through challenges or crises or places where I'm really kind of forced into a decision. But I've learned to appreciate that if this is where I am right now and we can find the path forward, that I'll look back on it as having been a blessing. So just like we're having this conversation today and I was panicked because it's the first time we're having any kind of live anything. Like, oh my goodness, what is that? It's I know afterwards I'll be super glad that we got inside. It'll be good. So I've learned to appreciate, wow, this is the feeling that precedes something great. I just need to lean into it.
And I think that's probably one of the most powerful statements you've said, because I know that's a learned thing for anybody, is because nobody goes through life and says, let's see how uncomfortable I can get. Right. I
Yep.
think you've got to learn it as we go through. And I think it shows sign of somebody that's about ready to receive some sort of greatness in their life with whatever endeavors are going down. Is they're like, okay, this is gonna suck, but we're gonna do it anyways, and still pushes through and gets to that spot in life where some really, really cool things, are going to happen in their life, which is it's really fun to watch. I wasn't expecting myself to evolve as much as I had, in running a business. I wasn't expect to grow up as much as I had, going through this. Do you really feel like a changed person at this point? Do you really feel like you've transformed into something more?
Yes. There's a lot more to come, that I know for sure. But yes, dealing with everything from the insecurity, the uncertainty, to other people around me that I'm supposed to lead are definitely more informed on what our actual business does. Getting out and having to do sales, like it's been a constant progression. Oof. Yeah, it's like a transformation. And I appreciate I appreciate every bit of it. But some of it has really sucked. There's been such beauty and amazing things that have happened, but it just sometimes doesn't feel great in the moment. Hindsight's 2020, right? Like you look back, and that's why I talked about I've learned to sort of appreciate these moments. It was like, wow, these things really sucked, and then we did something great. Or, wow, this was a really hard thing, but it happened, or I happened to do it, and now I feel really good about it. So yeah, it's an evolution.
Yeah, no, and it's fun, and I think all leaders get to that spot in their life when they realize when they grow, their team grows with them, and you all kind of evolve as a unit and continue to move forward. It's a fun ride.
It is. What's even more fun is watching the people around you evolve, change, and get better too. Like that is super fun. It is super, I think that's part of the most rewarding thing, is looking at whatever the situation is. My personal hope is that I leave that relationship or that person feeling better than when it started. And if that's what happens, then that's a blessing on me. So if I help other people doing really well, it feels good to me as well.
No, that's awesome. I mean, because there's a lot of people that aren't that way. They'll stand out front and try and tell you that they're all about their people, they're all about their team, but you, you live it every day, and it's really fun to watch.
I will say one thing though. It has also been an evolution to go from trying to please everyone because they were so necessary and they meant so much, and everyone has a vital role to play. And I think for a while, maybe that insecurity and just trying to keep everybody happy was actually stopping myself and the people around me from doing what we needed to do. You can't please everyone, but I certainly felt like that was my job. They'd taken a chance on this somehow. I had to make sure every day and every decision I made everyone happy. And that's exhausting. And it can't happen that way. So it's been an evolution again in this whole, how do I give everyone a voice, but not a vote? How do we make sure everyone feels heard and that they're living their best life while being a part of this team without trying to cater to every single person's needs and wants? It's a balance for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. As this, we're going through this crazy ass time in our life. I'm really curious because there's a lot of people that are in this spot to where maybe they've been laid off, or they've had to transition into another business, do something different in their world. They're contemplating starting a business. They're contemplating doing something like you did, helping their team out and do a big thing. What would you tell them to be prepared for that big push in their life? What are some of the things that they need to do to get mentally ready for that?
So in any scenario that's really challenging, again, like the one we're in now, I think it is okay to take a moment and acknowledge that things are really tough, and to say the things that are going on around me are, definitely disrupting life as we know it. And I think it's fabulous if out of all those ideas and in this scenario, you feel like you can launch a new idea. So it goes back to what we talked about earlier. You have to have a sound financial model. How are you going to do it? How are you going to pay for it? How is that going to work? How are you going to get your voice out there? How are you going to sell? It takes a long time to fill the funnel, unfortunately. So there has to be some sort of a plan. The plan is just permission, right? You have to know that it's going to work. Then listen to yourself. And if your gut and your heart tells you that you can actually do this and that you're all in, then I would say jump. But you have to have a combination of foundation and whatever kind of crazy sauce this is to actually go and take the leap. I'm serious. And the worst thing you can do is fail. Like, what? That's the worst. I mean, obviously you want to be smart about it and hedge your bets and make sure you've got, things in place so that you don't just end up on the street. That's not smart. That's part of having a plan. But man, if you can do it, then just acknowledge it. And I think it was Melissa Love that we were talking to earlier today. She's fantastic. Was saying she's the one that brought up this concept that people are afraid to fail. Don't, because you can only achieve greatness if you take a risk.
Yep. And I've learned that the hard way. I wasn't always a risk taker. I wasn't always one to jump in head first. But I know when I launched my business, I literally went from thought to action within 15 days. I walked away from everything and launched the entire business. There was a lot of rough roads, when that happened. I mean, because you just don't know what you don't know. I mean, and you're learning on the fly. And, for some people, they're very built that they got to do a plan, a strategy, and go. I'm with you. Jump in and see what the hell happens, because I think people are going to see what they're made of. They're going to find out, some of their strengths, some of their weaknesses. They're going to learn, are they really cut out for this? And I think, it goes back to, for me, they're going to find themselves along the way. As you continue on this journey, you're grooming leaders. You're so heavily connected in the community, and you're doing so many awesome things. Where does this road lead for you? I mean, where do you think this journey is going to take you as you continue, down this entire world of Miss Nikole Dickman?
Okay, you had to add that little last bit in because you know
Of course.
I wanted it to be about me. Yeah, so I don't know. And I'm a planner by nature, OCD, like we said, only child, like to have a financial plan. That's my whole background is I think I've adopted a saying, I'm not controlling, I'm aggressively helpful. I want to make
I want that on a t-shirt.
My goodness, I do too. I do too. I need it on a t-shirt. Just being aggressively helpful today, it's fine. Just forgot what I was saying. So again, with trying to figure out what to do with Envoy, planning all the different scenarios, trying to accommodate for every potential. No, enough. I don't want to necessarily know what the future holds. I want to be able to figure out what works right now, what we're going to do to be elastic and continue to remain relevant and do things that are going to help our team move forward. And I don't want to write my script yet. And I know that you need, from a business perspective, a 10-year, 5-year, short-term plans. All of those things are incredibly necessary. But if you plan it all out and you're not open to seeing what else is in store, then you've just limited yourself. And I don't want to do that anymore. So I don't know the answer to that question. And I love it. I love it because
that's you being authentic. I mean, somebody else would have been full of shit and thrown out some BS. I'm going to change the world, blah, 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 whatever. But I love that you're still figuring it out on the ride. I think it shows your real side of you. You need to hear this, though. Janelle Bitterly says, I needed this. I truly have been teetering, but we are truly jumping in, and this podcast truly made me believe I am doing the right thing. Again, thank you. I needed this.
Oh,
so
love that. Okay, that's fabulous. That's fabulous.
So,
amazing.
Guys, one of the things that Nikole and I have been talking about a lot behind the scenes is about going big and loud in your life. And, the world needs to hear your message. And I think it's important for them to hear how nervous you were about, doing this and having this conversation. And, the whole idea behind, the fear and everything that we all go through, because that's real world. I mean, both of us could sit up here and tell you that it's a cakewalk and it's going to be easy and all the other BS that you're going to hear out there. But it's more important that you hear the real and genuine words of somebody that's been through it, going through it, living it, and going bigger and making cool things happen in your life. What would you tell all the people that are in the midst of it, figuring it out, climbing and growing? What would you say to them?
Oh my goodness. The same thing I told myself right before you put us live, just stop being your own worst judge. It is, you just go out there and let what you think other people are thinking, you just let it go. Let it go. You only have one chance. Go and make the best of it. And I think that's one of the reasons why when I met you and your energy and your entire approach to helping businesses and leaders, it's that was what I needed. Just enough already. Overanalyzing and the insecurity, you can't let that completely go. It's always going to creep in. I think that's normal, but just set it aside and stop letting it be a limiting factor. That's literally, it was just let it go, let it go, let it go. It was over and over again right before you, even during your video that was playing, I was just enough already. It's okay. Just go out there and make an impact and be proud of whatever you are getting ready to do and what you've succeeded or failed at.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
And so touchy-feely. I'm sorry, but it's
no, dude. It's real. That's what it is. It's not touchy-feely. It is the real truth. I mean, look, in this time we're living in, there's a lot of false leaders out there. There's a lot of people that have given bad advice and tried to paint this rose-colored glasses, entire thought process. People need authentic leaders. They need people to step up and tell the real story. Lilia just wrote this. This has been so inspiring. Nikole's authenticity has been refreshing. So, right. So, and like I've tried to tell you, people need this message. They need this story. They need to hear it from people that are in the trenches, that are going through it, because they're looking for a trailblazer. And they're looking for somebody to say, hey, shit, I've gone through it. This is what I've done. You can too.
Well, what's really fun about that is that it only takes one, right? It's contagious. A yawn's contagious. A laughter is contagious. Being able to say, hey, you know what? I don't always get it right, but I'm going to go out and I'm going to do it. It only takes one. And if you can admit that you're uncertain or you're having issues or there's a struggle, and it's authentic. That's going to be my new word to whoever said that. I'm going to wear it out.
Donald Dotson, she loves you.
I love it. Then people around you feel better opening up and being true and starting to talk about things that matter. And that's the foundation of a relationship. I have kids, ranging from 12 to 21 years of age. And growing up in this world where everybody pretends everything is perfect is just exhausting. So It's imperfect. It's perfectly imperfect. Just be okay with being out and being, I love it, authentic. I get out to, oh my goodness, I'm so excited. Honestly, it just takes one. If you're willing to open up and have a conversation just like this, I guess it might inspire or make somebody else feel more comfortable to also, share their truth or their next big, awesome project.
Absolutely. And I know Carly's watching this. Carly, will you take that little section she just said and every morning replay it for her so she can hear her own words?
Enough.
And Dotson just put in their authenticity with a trademark symbol behind it. So he's trademarking the word authenticity, just so you know.
Awesome. Awesomely authentic. I love it.
So, girl, this has been an amazing and an awesome and a wonderful ride. I truly appreciate your help. How do people get in touch with you and find you if they want to reach out and say howdy and hello?
Okay, so you can definitely go to LinkedIn and find Nikole Dickman there. And I want to talk real quick about something super fun.
Oh, please do.
Do I have a moment to talk about?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, yay. Okay. So, envoymanagedservices.com, that is our website. And what's really cool is, so you talk about kind of being backed into a corner and trying to figure out what to do. The team got together and sort of the theme was, we are lucky, we're employed, we're working together, we're a team. We have lots of people that we know that have questions about technology. Clearly, I personally am not the one to answer that, but because I ask them all those questions too. So during this time, what can we do to not only be inspired as a team but also to give back? So right now we are doing free we call it teletech, free IT services for small businesses. There's a calendar on our website where you can go during certain times, accept terms and conditions, and actually chat live one-on-one with one of our technical resources. We are committed to helping people during that time answer their questions, because so many things are going on out there that people don't know and they want answers. So go to Envoy Managed Services, because I know our team is actually still live right now until 5 p.m. Central Standard Time, answering questions. So definitely connect with us there, and my LinkedIn, or that, like, what else do you want?
No, that's perfect. That's perfect.
I would love to connect, especially if there's someone out there that has a question or is trying to launch an idea, or even if you just are thinking, I want a financial model to figure out if this is feasible. If you want to connect and have a conversation, I am willing to do that, because I can tell you for sure that everything that we have done has been with the support system. There have been people around me cheering me on and saying, how do you make lemonade out of lemons? And what are you going to do differently? And you can do this. So you don't have to be in it on your own. Find a community of people who are going to support and motivate you, and also tell you what you need to hear. Kind of like Donnie tells me when I'm being, full of crap or whatever. Your special skill. And you're like, no, that's not what you need to do. Figure it out. Go big. Go bigger. Go biggest.
That's awesome. And Lilia says that's an amazing service. Well, this has been a hell of a ride, girl. I truly appreciate your realness on this. I really appreciate and letting people see a successful CEO share her story and journey, and and show the kind of behind the scenes thought process that goes through every one of our minds as we're building and growing and doing some really cool things in life. So thank you for that.
Well, I have to thank you for being one of those people who has been there in the moments where things are a little crazy, and being able to help see the possibility, motivate when I've definitely had my moments. And you've been an amazing mentor and resource through all of this. So I appreciate you.
Thank you. I just like kicking badasses in the ass. That's probably one of my favorite things in the world is letting a badass totally see themselves, and then kicking them to say, let's run. let's go bigger and change the world. So it's been fun.
Those are one of those things I am glad happened when it's over. When that's all done, I'm like, oh yeah, that's great. Thank you.
So, guys, the Badass Business Summit will be happening in September. Come hang out with Nikole and I and all the other badasses that will be there. Envoy Managed Services, thank you so much for stepping up and sponsoring the whole thing. It's been such a fun journey hanging out and getting to know you guys. So you can get your tickets over at badassbusinesssummit.com. Come see Nikole. We will be doing a live podcast, her and I there on stage. You'll be able to ask her live questions from the audience. And we got months to prepare. You're going to be fine. So come hang out with us at the Badass Business Summit. You're going to see some amazing speakers from around the world, all talking about business development. We'll be talking about networking. We're going to be talking about how you can grow and scale your business. Everybody who attends will get a customized book with a featured chapter from all of our speakers. It's going to be an amazing ride, amazing tool, full trade show with vendors and everything. It's going to be a really cool time. And if you guys haven't checked out the Success Champion networking groups, you need to get involved with that. Nikole is actually in Fort Worth 1. I can just wait. You can hear Stacy going nuts already.
Yes, we won the t-shirts.
You did win the t-shirts. Those are
We're
coming.
so excited.
So those are coming really, really quick. So and I did a special t-shirt just for you guys. So I'm excited to nail those.
A little plug for the networking groups,
Sure.
other than thank you for, again, going above and beyond to help businesses and help them connect. And a networking group online on Zoom is a very easy way, if you are like me and terrified to get into a room and you just want to white knuckle it until it's over. So much easier, as most things are, to do it in the protection of the virtual world. So if you haven't yet, join one and start to, get with other people that are still figuring it out and learning how to network. And then that'll kind of help you get your feet wet for when things go back to, in person. It's a great way. And it's a great group, by the way. Thank you, Stacy. I know she's out there. She's fantastic.
No, thank you for that. So, guys, thanks for hanging out. Thanks for tuning in. Keep being badasses. Keep going big. And thanks for hanging out with us as we got to hear from a real badass that's changing the world. So thanks, Nikole, for doing this.
Thank you, Donnie. Yay, we're done.
Hey badasses, this is Donnie Bovine, the founding badass behind Success Champions, the podcast, the magazine, the Facebook group filled full of business owners that are doing amazing things growing and scaling their business. Here we are at the Hearst Convention Center in Fort Worth, Texas, getting geared up for the Badass Business Summit. We're bringing in 12 amazing speakers from around the U.S. to help you get your publicity and your business development right at this ultimate event called the Badass Business Summit. At this event, you're going to learn how to get on stages, how to get on podcasts, how to write your book. You're also going to learn about how to automate your sales process, how to network at a high-end level. You're going to learn how to get your social media dialed in so it's perfect for your business so you can grow and scale. We all set out to start our own businesses to find that freedom from doing the 9-to-5 job. Now it's time to scale that business up, get after it, and go big as hell. I promise you, at the Badass Business Summit, you're going to unleash that inner badass inside of you so you can go big and loud and change the world.